It's a new world, it's a new economy, folks, and we're going to see more and more people getting forced out. However, if you're paying attention and you're preparing, you'll be able to you'll be able to survive, not only survive, but you'll be able to capitalize and profit from an otherwise very unfortunate situation. And we're going to continue to see more and more of this in the housing market, in the stock market, as the Federal Reserve continues to make interest rate adjustments, as the Federal Reserve continues to modify our economy. And many people argue that the economy was actually doing fine. The economy wasn't overheated. We simply had a supply chain disruption. And what happens with supply chain disruptions? Well, if the demand remains the same or increases, well, prices go up. So when you shut the economy down, obviously you're going to have a reduction in supply because no one can work. No one can produce products. No one can deliver products. And then when you open the economy back up, there's clearly going to be a lag effect. Now, in the housing market, we've seen a tremendous number of people moving to different parts of the United States. We've seen people move out of California. People are like fleeing California. People are, and I've spoken to a number of people. I actually have a good friend in Texas, specifically Austin, Texas, and he's telling me that there are so many people coming to Texas from the state of California. It is unreal. So people are leaving California. The taxes are way too high. People are leaving California for Texas. They're leaving California for states like Nevada with minimal or no state income taxes. I know a businessman, a very successful businessman and entrepreneur who has moved from Texas to South Florida, specifically. I want to say it was either Miami or Fort Lauderdale, in that vicinity of South Florida. But people will continue to move, and people will continue to adapt in this new environment, even with many companies trying to push back, saying, "Oh, you got to come back in the office. No more remote work. No more work from home." Companies are pissed off. Why? Because they have realized that they have lost control of their workers, of their employees. And these businesses, they're all about control. So if they ever feel like, our employees, we can't keep our thumb on our employees like we used to, then they need to do something about that. And what are they going to do? They're telling more and more people to come home. They're telling more and more people they can't work from home and that they need to come back into the office, right? So we're gonna continue to see this fight, and this fight will affect real estate. We will continue to see a shift in real estate prices. Let's listen. So basically, I don't know if you guys heard about this situation. This girl named Mitchie, here she is. This girl named Mitchie, she used to work for Google and other companies like Meta and LinkedIn, and she was ultimately frustrated and she was forced to leave. She ultimately left her job voluntarily, earning $196,000. I don't know how much you make. Is $196,000 a year a lot? I mean, for her, it wasn't enough to keep her in the job that she was working. And many cities in, how can I call these states? There were several different states and several different cities that ended up being migrant cities for people who worked from home. So multiple cities in Florida, I mean, and the state of Florida as a whole, but multiple cities in Florida were migrant cities, and so many people who were permitted to work remotely decided to move from their state and move to the state of Florida because the weather was great, because the state was open, because the economy had essentially reopened, and there was a different perspective on mandates and how things should be handled. I'm not trying to get into that in this video, but simple fact of the matter is that this certainly increased the demand for real estate in certain pockets of the United States more than others. So Mitchie basically found herself in this situation here, and she decided, well, I'm gonna have to make some changes. $196,000 a year from companies like Google, Meta, and LinkedIn was not enough to keep her satisfied. She was unsatisfied, no matter, even with $196,000 salary. Now, I don't know about you guys. Would you stick around uh, and deal with whatever kind of corporate bull you might have to deal with to earn $196,000 a year? I feel like everybody has a price. And evidently, her price was much higher than $196,000. So Mitchie, she was a former product marketing manager at Meta and Google, and she ultimately left her $196,000 job at Meta to build her creator economy startup company instead. And I've been seeing a lot of startup companies being started during the pandemic, post-pandemic, and it's going to continue. A lot of these companies are just driving people out. Can you imagine being told you're non-essential? Like, that's like the biggest slap in the face ever. Hey, you're non-essential. So, we're it's wild. Like, can you imagine looking at this spreadsheet that your corporation has sent out, and you or your team or your position is listed or labeled as non-essential? I would be personally offended by that. But, I digress. But we've seen a lot of that, right? And much like a lot of people who are stuck and saddled with loans and whatnot, Mitchie was actually one of them. And I can't tell you how many times I've met somebody who, told me they got student loan debt or whatnot, and they ultimately went to school for education, got a degree in something, and they're in a completely different field. Meanwhile, it's like, yo, you got this degree, you spent 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, $80,000 for it, and you're not even doing what you went to school for. And Mitchie was one of them. However, she managed to leverage whatever skills she had to, ultimately climb the ranks and land a $196,000 per year job. She said she found it really hard to convince companies to take a chance on her with a sociology degree, especially for roles that she was looking for within technology. So she was a college student who went to school and obtained a sociology degree, but managed to eventually convince some companies, including Meta, Google, and LinkedIn, to hire her for some fairly high-paying technology jobs. So she finally decided to start a club in college called Diversitech. It's a tech consulting club that would bring students of all majors to gain experience with companies like Google, LinkedIn, and Figma. Now, I'm not even familiar with Figma. Let me know if you guys have heard of Figma. But LinkedIn wasn't the highest paying job. LinkedIn wasn't the highest paying new college graduate offer that she received. Evidently, she received multiple job offers. She ended up saying that she took the pay cut with the hope that having LinkedIn in her resume would open up more doors further down the line. She said, I think the bet paid off because it was much easier to get past She said, I think the bet paid off because it was much easier to get past resume screens and interview rounds. It likely played a role in me securing an offer from Google within a year. And, and this is what I've coached a lot of my clients on, how to negotiate higher paying salaries, how to strategically position yourself so that you can increase your income. Can you imagine making an extra 20 grand a year, an extra 100 grand a year? Like, you can do this if you have the proper strategy. And sometimes it means taking a position that doesn't necessarily pay you as much as you could have received somewhere else, but maybe there's some additional value in that company that you can leverage in the future. Because remember, these companies, they're leveraging you. They're only paying you your salary because you are worth more to them. So if you're making $50,000 a year, know that you're only being paid 50 grand a year because they're making more than 50 grand off of you. So chances are, if you make $50,000 a year, the company you work for is probably making $100,000, if not $150,000 or more off of your efforts. And so there's no reason, and it's not unethical. There's no reason for you to not do the exact same thing. Companies are going to leverage you, leverage these other companies. If a company has a very strong name in the industry and they're highly respected, it may be worth taking a position with them, even if they don't necessarily pay you as much as you could earn. Let's just say You go to apply for a job, or multiple jobs, and you get multiple offers. And one of those offers is, let's just say, $5,000 less per year than some of the other offers. But you know that the market rate or the market cap for your position is $50,000 above even your best offer. It may be best to take the offer that is $5,000 below the highest offer that you've received if that company is a big name. Work for that company for, a year or so, learn as much as you can, network as much as you can, and then update your resume and apply for a new job after a year. And you'd be surprised. You may be able to leapfrog and land a new job that pays $20, $30, $40, $50,000 more just by taking the upfront $5,000 sacrifice in the beginning. But again, it all depends on your strategy. Drop me some comments down below. Let me know what you guys think about what's going on right now, what these companies are doing to us. And let me know if you are having any type of difficulty in your employment or at your job that, maybe you're worried about losing your job. Maybe you're looking for new and better ways to earn income on your own time. If you want to set your own schedule, if you guys are interested in learning more about side hustles, different money-making opportunities, passive income generation methods, definitely hit me up in the comment section down below. And if you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing to the channel. I'd love to hear from you guys. I'd love to have you. Consider dropping a like for the video, and I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one. Y'all be safe.